about the elites in America to become whites or honorary whites. But in America, there is also a large number of movements like American Hindu Association, which propagate ideas of Hinduism, and I get quite a lot of memes on the internet. So how do you find their roles? Don't they?
So let's talk about religion in America, because I think people in India have a very limited understanding of religion in America. This is something I learned, because in India I didn't have a sense of religious identity. We believed in, or we did all sorts of things, and we had, my father comes from a very westernized background, my mother comes from a very traditional Hindu background, and I went to St. Columbus School, and most of my friends are from childhood of various kinds of faiths. So, you know, we didn't have the clarity of identity, religious identity, as I found to be in the United States. In the United States, it's very proud to say I'm Presbyterian. The other person around the table will say I'm Methodist. My father was Episcopalian, like that. I mean, a particular denomination. And also, to some extent it is because their religion is by membership. You are a member of Rotary Club, or you're a member of Gymkhana Club in Delhi. And so you're a member of an organization, religious organization, who's pledged allegiance to it, and you are upholding the bylaws of that religious tenet. So it's not a free-for-all that one day you go to Presbyterian church, another day you go to Methodist church, and if you're driving around you celebrate there. It's not like that. So the idea of formal religious membership is very strong, religious identity is very strong. Jews fight that you should not put this Christmas tree in a government building because it violates separation of church and state. Jews are very strong on that. And if you do it, then you should also put Star of David, like that. Muslims also assert. So in America, religious identity is a very common public thing. Even the most liberal left-wing presidents are very clear about being Christian. Jimmy Carter, you would consider to be one of the most liberal left-wing presidents. You read his autobiography, he says all his decisions were influenced by his Christian faith. And he's so deeply devoted, so committed to Christianity. His now retired life is as his pastor in a church where he goes and preaches Christianity. Bill Clinton, in his autobiography, 200 pages of growing up as a Methodist, as a Baptist. Hillary Clinton, exceedingly. Barack Obama, you look at his speech when he announced that he's running for president, it was on the footsteps of his church. The equivalent would be a CPM candidate going to a major, which is a big temple in Bombay, what would we need? Mahalakshmi temple steps and saying, I am going to sit for my election. Okay, so the extreme left, as left as you can get in America, okay, by their standards, has no qualms about their religion. So leftism is not about, denouncing your religion. And secularism just means institution of church and institution of state cannot be mixed. Which means a lot of ours takeover of temples or funding some religious thing here there is actually not secular because it is being mixed. So in the American idea of secularism, and I'm giving you a background so I'll come to Hindu Foundation, but I want to give you this background of American religion so you understand in what context the Indian has to negotiate its place, so you should understand that. So in the American context, liberalism, being leftist and so on, is a social economic posture. It's against capitalism, it's against concentration of power and wealth, it's for labor unions, it's for poor. It's got nothing to do with anti-religion. That is a peculiarly American thing. It's not the same in Europe. In European liberals are not so Christian, but American liberals are, by and large. Few Noam Chomsky type are considered beyond the edge. And that's another interesting thing. In India, a very extreme liberal would get a lot of space in the mainstream media. He would be called in as an expert on every opinion. But in American media, you will never find Noam Chomsky interviewed on television. I've never seen him ever interviewed on television. He's an academic guy. He's in the cocoons. He's in a cocoon he's a brilliant man, no doubt. But he's not the mainstream left, right, here. They have no time for these intellectuals sitting in the academy. America does not respect its left-wing academic, I'm underlining that, people like India does. They're just out of the pale of discourse. So being a liberal left-wing person in the mainstream politics and in the mainstream media is a social policy and economic policy. It is not about that far out to the fringe. So you should understand that. Now, in a place like that, religious studies is taught in schools. There is the American Academy of Religion, which is the faculty and research scholars in universities whose job is religious studies. There's a curriculum called religious studies in every major university department. One of the biggest departments in the humanities is religious studies. The American Academy of Religion has 10,000 plus members who are all faculty and full-time. Not somebody with an interest, not some guru type person. I'm not talking about those people, not the local priest. I'm talking about academic scholars, more than 10,000. So it's a huge discipline. Religion is a very big field in America, both academically, in public life, in political life. It is not considered to be right wing and all that. Now there is a religious right, hyphenated, religious right. But there's also a religious left. Like I gave you examples of Jimmy Carter and Obama and so on. So being Christian, being Judeo-Christian, you can be left wing or right wing and you can still be Judeo-Christian. So it is a very American thing. It is not one camp only. It's all across the political spectrum. Blacks, very liberal, very left-wing, very against all the white oppression, very much against social oppression, all that stuff. But they have black churches, very, very solid black churches. That is their center of power. They go to the church, black church, Christian church. So the majority religion, which is Christianity, occupies that kind of pride of place in the American heart across the whole political spectrum. It is not like in India where you will be considered saffron and right-wing if you're a Hindu. If you're a Christian, you're not considered right-wing automatically. You may be a Christian right, but you could also be Christian left. So when you look at it from that point of view, you have to then look at, there is a Council on Islamic Education. Every religious group has its political lobby in Washington, every religious group. So it's perfectly fine if Hindus have Hindu American Foundation. I'm not a member of it and I'm not part of it, but I can see what they're doing. They're lobbying for a particular American, in the American political scene, they're lobbying for a point of view, and there are similar lobbies for every religion, and there's no reason not to. For instance, I'll give you examples of what they are lobbying, which is important. There is something called U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. United States Commission on International Religious Freedom was signed by Bill Clinton because he needed some votes from the other side to pass some bills. And one of the deals, they always make deals. One of the deals was that the religious right said we'll get you the support, but you have to pass this law. So he passed this law, and in his whole autobiography, there's just one sentence on this law. On such and such day, I signed the International Religious Freedom Law. And he goes on to the next topic. He didn't want to talk about it, but he signed it. So what this law says is, a commission is set up, which reports to the President and the US Congress every year, monitoring the state of religious freedom in every country in the world except the United States. Monitoring the state of religious freedom in every country in the world except the United States. And its recommendations will be based on its recommendations, you can put sanctions and you can do all kinds of things against the country. Okay? So, there has never been a Hindu on that. There's one Hindu who joined and left quickly. There are 15 members. They are Judeo-Christian, all of them. I think Muslims now got 2 or 3 people in there. So this is a kind of a lobby issue. Why is it that they have the authority, officials under the government, to do this monitoring of all the countries in the world except the United States? And the people you are monitoring are not represented. I mean, it's undemocratic. In democracy, all segments of society are represented in a body which is going to have oversight over them. So if this body is going to have oversight over various religions, then in proportion to the representation of those religions all over the world, because if it's a global eyes and ears, then they should take a global look at how many people are various faiths, and they should give some representation to those people. At least there should be one from each major religion, but there isn't. So they're lobbying for this, and they are highlighting the hypocrisy. In my book, Breaking India, I've written a whole amount on this US Commission on Religious Freedom. I went and attended their events. It's all sham, complete sham. So there are legitimate issues. Now, I have problems when an organization like that gets involved in Indian religious politics, because if it's perfectly fine, you're living in the United States and you want to look at the American scene on religious freedom, the American rights of this group or that group, and you as Americans want to lobby for your side because that's the American way. American way is to lobby. America doesn't have castes but has lobby groups. Our castes are called lobby groups now, more or less. And there it is just considered fine. It's not a problem, it's considered the American way that you lobby. So there are lobbies, religious lobbies. There are all kinds of religious lobbies. And I don't see anything wrong. I disagree with them on things. I disagree when they get involved in something happening in India or wherever. Because if it's the Hindu American Foundation, then I think they should be looking at issues in the United States. They also look at things like textbooks. Textbooks have issues. And so I think you cannot openly accept everything or sort of have a sweeping rejection of everything they do. I would say that you got to look at each issue. What are the issues that they are working on? And a lot of those are very good issues. I mean, I'm not a member and I haven't been involved directly, but I look at what they're doing and I think some of those things are fine.